I see three gifts that the dragon's bringing to Africa. And the first gift is really China's own experience, and that can be a beacon of hope, I think, for Africa. And there's a lot in China's experience that's useful for Africa. One is that they were once very poor, and over a relatively short period of time, they've emerged out of poverty. Not everybody, still quite a few poor people in China, but a lot of people become wealthy, middle income at least. And the way they've done that is through a lot of experimentation. China's not followed the standard practices that African countries have been told to follow over the past few decades. And so in that sense, I think they open up a kind of a policy space for Africa to experiment also. Things like industrial policy, which African countries don't have a lot of experience in. And also as part of that experience in China is the fact that aid was not central to their development. And I think a lot of African countries have been relying very heavily on aid, and maybe this has not been a practice that's actually helped to boost them out of poverty, and it's something that's worth thinking about. But the second gift is a little more traditional. It's what are they actually doing in Africa? And what they're doing primarily is they're building infrastructure. There's a saying in China, 要想富，先修路, which is if you want to become wealthy, first build a road. And so as part of their aid, as part of their commercial engagement in Africa, they're doing infrastructure. And this ranges not only from roads and bridges to things like hydropower plants, which are controversial, but hydropower and other kinds of power plants, telecommunications, cell phone networks. We hear now that Africans are using cell phones by the millions to have telephone service where they never had it in the past. And so these cell phone networks are being set up by Chinese companies largely around the continent. So this idea that you need to focus on infrastructure, and they are actually focusing on it, is part of the gift, I would say. And the third is the image of Africa that's changing. And for the Chinese, the gift they give here is that Africa is not a place of desperation and war and poverty and infants malnourished and all of the ways that we see Africa in the West. For China, Africa is a place to do business, and it's a market of consumers that in 2008 purchased $50 billion worth of goods from China. It's a place where they can invest in factories, and the factories are creating jobs. It's a place of opportunity. And Africa hasn't had that kind of PR for quite a while. And so I do see that as a gift, a way for the rest of the world to look at Africa as something different than the way we've seen it for so long. So that's what I'd say are the three gifts from the dragon.